Good day, Rise listeners. Today we're back again with another episode, and I am your host, Sinalo Matubatuba, and I'm excited to be recording this with you guys and discussing what we're going to be discussing today. It's just me today, and yeah, we're basically talking about navigating our decisions and when we're scared to make certain decisions. So trusting ourselves in tough moments. Are you at a point in your life where you are actually trying to make a decision, but you have all these other things that are happening within you that cause you to be in conflict or at crossroads with what you want? So this episode is for you. Please do not forget to share, subscribe, like, comment. The more you guys do that, the more we gonna create content that is gonna be beneficial for you and me. And please remember, I am not a specialist or anything. I'm just a guy who is trying to navigate through the professional world and also, you know, um, prepare and navigate through personal development. So, in as much as you are learning, I'm also learning. But yeah, let's take it off. The first thing that I would like us to think of is that one decision that we are very scared of making, but we know deep down that we have to make it. One, two, that decision that visits us daily. We have that idea that visits us daily, and we know that we have to make a decision, and it's all with us. And because this decision doesn't escape us, we know that it's something that we have to do. But we nonetheless, we are pulled by different things. It may be financial pressures, it might be family expectations, it might be being scared of the unknown or being scared of the comfort that you will be currently, experiencing. But we are all going through those things. So, moving on, I think this episode will be premised on the fact that we all face decisions that scare us. And in facing decisions that scare us, sometimes you'll be the only one who sees the vision. Sometimes people will not see what you're seeing. Sometimes people are going to say, hey, you're crazy. Like, how can you even think about that? That's not going to work. Or, no, maybe give it a few years and then when you're settled and then you try and do it, The different things, and I always say that sometimes we need to stop this thing of going out to people saying that we are seeking advice when you're actually seeking validation from them. Because the only thing that happens is that you then get a projection of however that person may be feeling. That person may be scared, so they're going to project fear on you, and that would really derail you and what you are seeking to achieve. But sometimes you need to just close your eyes and go for what you want to go for and not explain yourself to anyone. So today I want to talk about the version of you which is standing at a crossroads, which doesn't know what to do, which tosses and turns at night because they're like, should I do this or shouldn't I do this? That version of you that is contemplating settling forever or actually going for their goals, right? I want to say to you that do not be scared to go for your goals because you only have this life. There's no other life you're gonna have where you're gonna experience, life as a human being and navigating through things like your dreams and going for them. My drive sometimes is like, I don't want to see myself at 45 with a family and miserable at what I do. I must know for sure when I lie in my deathbed one day that I have done all that I possibly could have done and I have went for everything that I wanted to go for and not settled because want to pay bills. Because bills will always be there. But will the time for you to go for what you want always be there? Because in growing up, there's a time where we lose out on having to choose ourselves. I believe that there'll come a time where I can't choose myself. When family responsibility comes in, when financial responsibility comes in, when one has to show up not just as a husband, but as a father, as a son, as a brother, you know. And at that point, as a man, all else is important, and you have to actually put everything else first. So, in doing that, holding back your dreams would lead you to an unfulfilling life. So, it's important for you to actually go for things that you want to go for, capacitate yourself as best as you can, so that by the time those things demand of your time, you are in a position where you are comfortable with what you have went for, with what you have achieved, and you do not have, you know, these outstanding things which bother you at night because you are like, I didn't go for that. I actually wanted to go for that. I actually got too comfortable with what I was doing. I didn't have time to go for that. Now I have kids, for instance. I cannot do that because I have to make sure I provide for my kids A, B, C, and D. So that's what I think is very important. And I always make this story. I am a person who is very invested in continuous learning. I really believe in the importance and the power of education. And ever since I started studying, I've always tried to capacitate myself as best as I can. So after my LLB studies, an opportunity came by where, okay, let me take it back a bit. During my LLB studies, I was doing a research as part of my LLB studies. And in that research, I had a supervisor, and I had a very great relationship with my supervisor. So my supervisor said, Sinalo, I want you to apply for masters. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm doing articles. I'm not gonna have time to study or prepare, like write for a master's thesis and coursework. So I don't think it's a good idea. And she's, you know, those stern women, and she was like, hey, I said, apply. Just apply. Don't forget about everything else. At that point, I didn't know that you could do masters at my alma mater, you know, part time. So I applied and I forgot about it, and I continued with my studies. And then I also applied for a few bursaries. And then I forgot about it. And then I got to, you know, where I currently work, you know, to start my articles. And I did induction, and you know, I had this information overload, like it was not ending. So I was like, actually, I don't think I can do masters. So I received a an offer for the masters, and I didn't accept or reject it, you know. But deep down, I knew that I wanted to do it. I had to do it. This opportunity was just before my eyes. What was I gonna do? A few days after, I had not accepted nor rejected the offer, but I received a call from one of, you know, the facilitators of the program. Went on to say, look, you've been accepted for this, and you've received the bursary, but you are not accepting. Like, we don't know whether you're accepting or rejecting. What's your story? What's going on? And then that's when I was like, damn, I have this opportunity. Other people do not have this opportunity. I have studies waiting for me that are fully paid for. Why don't I just do it? I mean, am I gonna die if I do it? And I started going out to people, seeking advice, and I don't want to paint anyone in a bad picture, but it was a matter of, no, how are you going to do it? You're going to be doing articles. How can you still do masters? Like, you're not going to have time, um, you know, those things. And it got to a point where I was like, even though I heard that, I'm a very stubborn person. So if I've set myself to something, nothing else matters. And I then was like, you know what? I don't know why I'm asking people for different, their insights on this, because I know what I want. I know what I want to do. So what's the point? So I accepted the program, right? And a few weeks ago, I was having a reflection because, I mean, there's a lot of progress that has happened since then. And I asked myself, and I actually recorded a TikTok video on this. I was asking myself, had I not taken that opportunity, how would I have felt right now if I didn't? So it takes me back to going for the things that you want to go for. Deep within you, you know what you want. You can say everything we want to say. We can talk about the finances aspect, that might be a challenge. We might talk about time, which is an issue. We might talk about family responsibility, which can be a hurdle. We can talk about how you're going to balance everything, maybe with other things that you're doing. But deep down, there's something in you that says, do this. This is for your good. You're going to enjoy doing this. So I invite you not to have approvals. Don't have directors in your life who are going to sign off what you do and what you don't do. It's your life. At the end, even if things do not go well, like, you will have tried. You will have tried, and you'll be proud of the fact that you tried. And you will not then have to live the regret of, what if I had done this? How would my life have turned out had I done this? And I always talk about, I call it the connection effect. When you do something, you enter a new space, you try out something new, you meet new people, you get exposed to new ideas. Now, let's say in that pursuit that you're doing, you don't do well in it, but it redirects you to something else. You always hear about these stories of people who have made it, people who are in certain positions, people who are like killing it in their different industries and in their businesses, and they tell you that, oh, actually, I never thought a day in my life that I was going to do this, right? But the one trend, or pattern of behavior that I've observed from people like that through reading, for instance, biographies, and through listening to different podcasts, is that those people will not let an opportunity pass them by. They're always there to take on an opportunity, even if they can't really make sense of what is going on. They are always there to take on the opportunity. They are the first person to sign up when a new opportunity arises, even where they find themselves. And sometimes you'll be bashed for that. People will call you an opportunist. You'll be like, oh, yeah, opportunist, oh, yeah, papa. Things like that. And I invite you to, don't let people's opinions be your GPS. Be guided by what you feel inside. Be guided by your ambition. Be guided by your vision. No one else sees your vision but yourself. And sometimes you'll be blinded or scared to even, voice out what your vision is, because you don't want people to discourage you. I'm there's a lot going on in my mind right now as I'm thinking about this. So it's important that when you go for things that you want, you fully go for it to a point where even if your own family member would say, "I this is nonsense," you know, you can still have the determination and the drive and the will to continue with it. That is the important thing that you need to go for. And there's a point where you have had to make that tough decision, right? And sometimes you're probably avoiding making that tough decision. And I invite you to make that tough decision. Whatever that decision may be, make the tough decision. And you might be doubting yourself right now, or you might have people doubting you and telling you that you're not going to be able to do this. But I invite you to actually, bring back your power. Believe in yourself. Place bets on yourself. You will surprise yourself. There is so much of potential and so much power and so much capabilities that we have as people, but because of our experiences, from growing from a young age where you're probably laughed at, you're probably bullied, you're probably told that you wouldn't amount to anything, you're probably, made to feel small. And I invite you to actually take back your power. Go for things that you want to go for. Don't seek advice from people that did not go through what you want to go through. Like, you can't ask an ordinary person. Let's say you want to do X. Let's say you want to establish a bank. How do you ask someone who has never opened a bank for advice? Like, what will they say to you? They'll mostly tell you that, that will be their first reaction. And they will say, there are many barriers to opening a bank. That's what's going to happen. So always, I'm not saying don't listen to people, but always take what people say with a pinch of salt. Because sometimes it all goes down to what there is, what has been said, about you, and it shouldn't drain you. It shouldn't drain you. I'm thinking now about a certain post that I saw a few days ago, and I'd like to read it to you. It was a speech, not a speech, sorry, a letter that was sent to one of, I'd say, the most accomplished people in the world, Winston Churchill, who was the Prime Minister of, the UK at the point. And there's a letter by his father that was actually, shared, and it actually got to me. And I'd like to read it for you. I just don't know where it is. Okay, I think I found it. So, okay, I don't know where it is now. It's somewhere here. Oh, okay, I'll just get a quotation from the letter. So, by way of background, Winston Churchill wanted to join the army, and he took on this decision to join the army. So this is what his father said. So he was actually happy that he was accepted into Sandhurst Military College. And although it was a public school and was not the same as his dad's alma mater, which was a private cavalry school known as the 60th Rifles, it was nonetheless prestigious and quite an honorable accomplishment for the young Winston. So he eagerly awaited his father's favor. I mean, every guy wants to make their father proud. I myself sitting here, I want to make my dad proud. And on hearing the news, Winston's father sent Winston Churchill this letter. So he said the following, and I quote, "You should be ashamed of your slovenly, happy-go-lucky, harem-scarum style of work. Never have I received a really good report of your conduct from any headmaster or tutor. Always behind, incessant complaints of a total want of application to your work. You have failed to get into the 60th Rifles, the finest regiment in the army. You have imposed on me an extra charge of some £200 a year. Do not think I am going to take the trouble of writing you long letters after every failure you commit and undergo. I no longer attach the slightest weight to anything you may say. If you cannot prevent yourself from leading the idle, useless, unprofitable life you have had during your school days, you will become a mere social wastrel, one of the hundreds of public school failures, and you will degenerate into a shabby, unhappy, and futile existence. You will have to bear all the blame for such misfortunes. Your mother sends her love." So this is a letter that was sent by the father, and you can just tell by the tone, by the words used, father was not pleased with the young Churchill. As you may know, Winston Churchill went on to lead the UK, and not just once, but twice. And it tells you that, you know, sometimes people will not see the vision that you have, even your own, like your own family. And that is the painful truth that some of us have to go through, you know. And I invite you, if you're not like cool and you're probably seeking, you know, families, you know, approval in things that you want to do, you should probably stop, because at the end of the day, this is your life. And in reading the story, you might have thought that sometimes you will go for things, and because you're starting out, it's not going to look good. You're not going to do great, you know. And that is an opportunity. I always call it the window opportunity, where your naysayers will say, yeah, we told you. What was he even thinking? But you should nonetheless continue. You should continue. That's when you need to apply consistency. That's when you need to be more stronger than ever. Because you now, not because you want to disprove that you suck, but because you start, every time when you're starting something new, like, you are not going to do as great as you're supposed to. You know, you're starting out, and then as time goes, you're gonna be better. So do not end, you know, do not be disappointed because you are trying to do this and it's not working out. You know, every master was once a novice. Every great person that you look up to was at a point where they actually did not know what they're doing. So we all have to start somewhere. And in us taking that leap of faith and doing what we want to do and what has never escaped us, we are going to make mistakes. We are going to mess up. We are going to feel less. We are going to have imposter syndrome. But it's important for us to push a lot and be consistent during that period, so that we can live through, you know, the I told you so moments, the what were you even thinking moments, and do more, right? So that we can get to what we're trying to achieve. And another story I like talking about when it comes to this is the podcast story. Now, the podcast story for me, it's a very, I like the story because I am a person that likes creating things from scratch. And in creating things from scratch, I would, as I said earlier on, I'm very stubborn. So I don't care what you say. I'm gonna go for what I wanna go for. Be it you approve of it or you don't approve of it. But what I'm trying to say is for a very long time, I tried to put away starting the podcast because I didn't have equipment, because I didn't have that. And I speak about this on one of my TikTok videos that, start with what you have and you'll figure out the rest later. And when I launched the podcast, I had no mic, I had no team, I had no script. I had a voice and had a belief that I wanted to take this to a certain point, right? And I had naysayers. I had people telling me that, this might not work, who did not see the vision. But I nonetheless persisted. I persisted because I had this fire within me. I had this vision and I wanted to see it come to life. And I will say to you right now, do it now. Like there's no perfect time. There's no time where I will say, no, I'm not old enough yet, so I need to, go on and first figure myself out and then do it. No, I am very happy that I started this podcast. It has changed my life in ways that you can never imagine. It has made me grow, and that is the important thing. And having an audience, having people who are going to just meet you and tell you that, look, we like your content. At the same time, those are going to be like, oh, your content sucks. I like both of those views. That keeps me going. And, you learn to take the applause the same way as you will take the disapproval, the criticism. You need to be at that point where, in as much as you have people who are going to clap for you, take that in the same way that you will take with people who are going to give you a red pen and criticize you. So, in doing that and into stepping into that space, the decision changed everything. And I can't really explain it, but your perspective on things, your emotional intelligence, other skills, skill stacking. I went into podcasting thinking that I will just speak and record and that's it. But I had to learn about other things. I had to learn about algorithms. I had to learn about search engine optimization. I had to learn about marketing. I had to learn about advertising. I had to learn about production. I had to learn about, running a production. I had to learn about business management. There's so many other things that I had to tap into, that I had to read on, even though I might not really be dealing with them on a daily basis. But there are many other things that I had to deal with, So it's very important that sometimes do not hold off that dream that you have, because you don't know where it will lead you to. You don't know what it will introduce you to. You don't know which spaces and which circles that will open you up to. So it's very important for you that when you have that dream, when you have that vision, you go for it. You take the opportunity with both hands while you can, and you do it now. There's no other opportune time. You need to do it now. So in trusting yourself and going with what you want to do but you're scared of doing, there are three pillars to this. Now the first thing is you need to silence the noise. close off external pressure and opinions. Block it off. Like, just be in your word. Like, kids do this, la 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 la. Like, I'm not saying do that literally, but do that. And the second thing you need to do is you need to listen to your gut. Your gut will never lead you astray. You need to understand the value of instinct and inner wisdom. It's within you. You just have all these other distractions, and you need to find a way in listening to yourself and in trusting what your heart says. You need to trust what your heart says, right? And sometimes people will tell you, no, in as much as you need to do this, you need to be realistic. You know, I think sometimes that is a barrier, that is a restriction, you know, that is a restriction because we try and put being real in everything that we want whilst we actually holding ourselves back, you know. And the third thing, which, is connected to what I was saying about being realistic, is we need to accept risk. We need to accept risk. Risk will always be there. There is no decision. I don't care where you've been and who you've, spoke to and how much you calculate, the feasibility of going into something. But there's no decision that has been 100% safe. There's no decision that has been 100% safe, and growth comes from stepping into the unknown, stepping into uncertainty, and you need to be prepared to do that. And one thing that I have taught myself this year was that I need to stop making decisions out of fear, but make them out of faith. As long as I've done my best, as long as I have prepared, that is the only thing I can ever do. But I need to start making decisions out of faith and not fear. So I also invite you to do that. Start making decisions out of faith and not fear. And you will see how your life will change because you're not scared of anything. Like, take the big risks and aim for the stars. Like, you have nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose. What's going to happen? You're not going to die. Just go for it. Go for it. I ask you to go for it. I know you're scared. I know you're like, Sinalo is probably making this so easy. It's not that easy. Just go for it. I promise you, it will be better than regret. I've come across so many people in my life. I like speaking to older people, generally, and just having conversations. And you'll hear like an older person tell you, oh, I was at this school, I did this, I got this opportunity, but I never took it. I was accepted to go to the US to study, but I never took this. Do you know that person, so and so, I used to help them with this, And in life, it's not about the smartest guy, It's not about the most intelligent person. It's about the person who has been consistent and who is willing to take on opportunities. So that's how we grow. That's how we actually realize our dreams. We need to go for the things that visit us daily. We can see the vision. We can see it right before our eyes. It's just a matter of just taking that leap. And no one is coming to save you. You need to understand that. Even your own family, no one is coming to save you. You need to do that for yourself. And in doing that for yourself, you will have done yourself the greatest service ever. You need to get that. So, in my university, there was while I was there at UWC, the greatest university in South Africa, there was a huge poster by the student center, and I can't really remember the graphics, but it had this quotation: "What if your what if works?" I never really got it then. What did it mean, right? And I actually had a guest episode a few weeks ago, and we're actually speaking about the what if your what if works. So, what if your what if works? I want to leave you with that today. That what if your what if works? And please just, take the fear. Take the fear of what if it fails and flip it to what if it works. Like, let's shift our mindset to not seeing things fail, to seeing things work. Let's be positive about that. And please, at this point, please close your eyes and think about this, What if this thing that you're scared of is the very thing that changes your life? What if that leap that you're avoiding is your way out? You have yourself in chains. You have yourself in a cage. Open that cage. Let yourself free. Go for your dreams. There's nothing stopping you. There's absolutely nothing. So, to the student, to the listener, to the parent, to the person who's trying to navigate their life right now, please listen to me carefully. This might be the student that is trying to pick a career. This might be the young professional that is scared to take the leap. This might be the parent that's wondering if it's too late. I want to say to you that you are more capable than you think. You are so gifted. You are the best. Tell yourself that. You don't have to have me tell you that. But you can absolutely go for anything that you want to go for. Anything. And in doing so, you need to remember that this is not for anyone else but you. And like I said at the beginning of the episode, you only have this life. So in trying to navigate your way through this life, go for things that matter to you. Go for things that bring you happiness. Go for things that bring you fulfillment. Go for those dreams that you have that shake you, that make you tremble. That's when you know you need to do it. So please do engage on this. You can DM me on Instagram on the official podcast page. You can send voice notes. Please do check out on Linktree. There's a Substack where we actually make episode reflections now. And yeah, please do engage on that. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share this episode to someone you might think really needs to hear it. And let us, build each other up. Let us not bring each other down. Let us not make fun of each other on social media and bring each other down. Let's not withhold opportunities from each other. The power is in collaboration. The power is not in bringing each other down. Let's unite. Let's grow each other. And that way we'll do much more. And closing message today is that in every tough moment, you already have the answer. You just need to be still enough to hear it. So I'm wishing you all the best with that decision that you have to make. If you want us to talk about it, I'm here, and I might not have the answers to what you might tell me, but I'm definitely there to listen. And I wish you all the best. Thank you for rising with me today. Until next time, trust your gut, trust yourself, and rise. Peace.